Welcome to Good Morning Akron, everyone. I am your host, Sarah, and today I'm with Deborah Solan. Deborah, how are you today?
I am very well, thank you.
Good. And Deborah actually has been on the show before a while back when we used to be Akron Buzz. Right. And she actually spoke about her book, which is actually, go ahead and pronounce it for me.
Sure, it's Chesed.
Chesed, that's
which
right.
Which is the Hebrew word for mercy. And then it says a Jewish woman's discovery of God's mercy.
I love that.
And what we're going to talk about today, Thanksgiving, is actually a chapter in the book.
Yes.
And something that I speak on to various organizations.
Which I love that. So you brought this to my attention online and you just said, hey, I have this thing I talk about called Thanksgiving, and I think it's so appropriate because we're going into Thanksgiving and holiday season, and for many people this is a time where it's hard, but it's also a time where they are thinking about family and being thankful. So share with us this idea of Thanksgiving.
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. Thanksgiving is obviously just the way the name sounds. Mm-hmm. It is purposefully living a life of thanks and cultivating a grateful heart. Mm-hmm. There are enormous, actually, health benefits that result from living a life of thanksgiving. And those include, for those of moms and dads with children, children are 20% more likely to get excellent grades.
Wow.
If they have a heart of gratitude and thanksgiving. Adults and children are 10% less likely to have health-related stress diseases.
Oh my goodness.
And blood pressure that's 12% lower.
So physical health benefits as well as mental health, right?
Yes, people live 7 years longer.
Oh my goodness.
Who are thankful and earn 7% higher income.
Yeah, I mean, I even from my own experience, I have like a gratitude journal, and when I'm doing it more regularly, I do notice that I feel better when I am, remembering those positive things, especially during the difficult times in my life where I'm like, maybe it's hard to come up with 5 things that I am grateful for, but during those times, it's probably even more important, right?
It is. It's amazing that giving thanks is backed up by scientific research.
Yeah.
And scientists also tell us that having a heart of thanksgiving creates like a psychological immune system that cushions us when we have difficult issues. Everyone has difficult issues.
Yeah.
Everyone suffers, everyone has pain in their life, and as you said, the holidays can actually increase that. And so there are very specific ways to develop a thankful attitude and a heart of thanks. And you mentioned one already, and that's keeping a thankful journal. That can include the very basic things, having a roof over your head.
Absolutely.
Having a warm bed. I know I love a warm bed.
Often a cup of coffee is on there, a warm cup of coffee.
Exactly. People that love you and people you love, if you are blessed in that way.
And that can be blood family or
of
friends,
course.
Right? It doesn't have to be, because we know, family structure is sometimes one of the difficult things around the holidays, but just even remembering the people in your life that love you, even if it is not in your immediate family.
That's right. And again, one of the things that helps is living in community.
Yeah.
Is knowing that there are people, whether it be a support group, perhaps a grief support group, if you're going through something, addiction, obviously, they have support groups to help people during difficult times, churches, social groups. It is very important that we do not live isolated lives and alone. We're not intended to do that.
No, we're not.
And,
so
the gratitude journal can also be for things that we most likely take for granted. So I know every morning I'm an early riser, and when I start to hear the birds sing, it just brings, a joy, a happiness to my heart. In the fall, obviously, we've had the most beautiful colors on the trees, the spring flowers, things that we just take for granted.
Right.
We should become more aware of all of those beautiful things. What I found, Sarah, is that people who have taken missions trips and have gone to other countries that have much less than we do are totally changed by the experience, in the fact that they don't take for granted all the things we normally do. And that's what science says. Science says that we don't will our problems. We don't deny them away. That's just not the way our body and our mind works.
Usually at the end of trying to will them away, there's like an explosion.
Exactly. Something horrible happens.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of mind over matter. It's a matter of recognizing what we do have, changing our self-talk so that instead of the worrisome, anxious, fearful thoughts that really, kind of come upon all of us,
right,
we change those to thoughts of gratitude. If you're coming off a very difficult situation, what have I learned from this situation? How am I now a better person because of what I have learned? And how can I help others who are going through this? You see that all the time.
I love that. I love that it's you're reflecting on whatever season you were in, and you're seeing how that changed you, and seeing how you can be grateful even for a difficult situation. Or, when you were talking, I was even thinking about my life has been very kind of overwhelming since I had my third daughter. And the moments where I felt the most gratefulness are when, it was especially during the fall, when I would go outside in the morning and be alone and just listen to nature and just ground myself in like what I could smell and what I could see and what I could hear, and just have those moments of peace and gratefulness for what was around me before I had to kind of go back into a little bit of a chaotic life, right?
Difficult situation, right?
Yeah.
And as I was saying, people who have gone through real tragedies, the loss of a child. And many people I know take that opportunity. Of course they grieve. Of course it's very difficult. But then they use that experience to help others. So maybe it's a particular unknown disease. They then reach out to others, parents and families who may be dealing with that, for support. People of means many times start a foundation for a specific area. All of those things help us, work through the suffering, and also bring joy to us because we're helping others. The holidays, you see it all the time. Church choirs and community groups going into nursing homes to sing and to visit with the elderly. Yes, it blesses the elderly, but it comes back and blesses us.
Absolutely.
And so that's what the heart of Thanksgiving is all about, doing what you can purposefully. There are other things. You can write thank you notes. We know that's a lost art.
It
unfortunately.
And I actually love to receive a thank you note. When I have time, love to write them. I'll admit my life has not been set up well for me to have space for stuff like that lately. But it's so important to think about people and write those notes for them.
Right. As you said, you know what it feels like to get one.
Yeah.
We put them on our dining room table and keep them out so that we can be reminded. And then hanging around thankful people. I mean, if you're always with negative people and grumpy people, or if you're watching the news 24/7,
right.
I mean, there are terrible things happening in the world. Everyone knows that. But you don't want to fill your heart and your mind with those things. That will cause you to be depressed.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I love the fact that the Bible, which obviously supports science, says in Proverbs 14:22 that a cheerful heart is like good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones.
Right.
And so
that's beautiful poetry.
The ill health, the psychological trauma that we deal with, if we focus on those things, but a cheerful heart.
Yeah.
And again, it's something that we cultivate. It's not automatic. We really have to work at it. But I guarantee that if your viewers and friends and family do this, life will be so much better.
I love all of the tangible examples that you gave too. As people are going into Thanksgiving, into the holidays, you know, create a gratitude journal. Think about the people that are surrounding you. You know, be around community. Like just such simple, tangible examples of ways that we can be grateful and thankful. Write some thank you cards. Write some Christmas cards telling people, you know, or holiday cards if you don't celebrate, but just telling people why they're important to you. And I love all of those beautiful ideas that you
and I think it's important to recognize we don't ignore or deny our problems.
Yeah.
As we said earlier, that just tends to come out worse in the end. We're just not made that way. So if we need to work through things with people within our own hearts, if we need to forgive, if we're holding on to things that are hurting us, then I truly believe, because I'm a person of faith, that God will help us in those areas. We don't have to live in denial, and we don't have to live in trauma and sorrow our entire life.
It's really beautiful. And I love how, you know, we can address those things. And then, like you said, the thankfulness and the gratefulness is like your, what did you say, psychological immune system?
Yes.
Right? So it helps your immune system to feel better again.
Right.
And get back to a place of health.
Right.
So thank you so much for bringing this idea to us.
You're welcome.
I love it. It's very, very beautiful. I know you have a brand new website.
Yes.
So share with us that website if people want to connect with you on this idea.
Sure. It's hisloveendurесforever.net.
All right, beautiful. Any other way that people can contact you?
I'm on Facebook as Deborah Solan.
Perfect.
And the website are probably the easiest and best ways to contact me.
Great. Well, thank you, Deborah.
My
so
pleasure.
Glad that you're here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being here with us today. We hope that you create some thanks living in your own life as you go through the holiday season. I know that I'm going to get back to that gratitude journal. That's one way that I'm going to step into that and just remember all of the amazing, wonderful things in my life. So you guys remember your good things too. All right, stay tuned because we got more great stuff coming up next.